Ra-pa-pa-pa, ching, 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 ching. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the pre-market show. We got 2 minutes and 26 seconds until the non-farm payrolls. Everybody knows about NFP, right? We are very excited to be potentially live trading if there's an opportunity for this non-farm payrolls. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting since the record-long government shutdown. Let's get over to the show. We're going to trade live NFP with you all. We are live on this Thursday, the 20th of November. Before we start, just a reminder, if you are interested in a free $5,000 account, please click the link in the live chat, fill out the form, and watch. At the end of the show, we'll be doing a live giveaway for each and every one of you to be able to join and to win a $5,000 account courtesy of City Traders Imperium. We've got just over 1 minute until we have the non-farm payrolls. Few things here, few things that we're considering for non-farm payrolls. We're going to be watching mainly S&P as we prepare for the day. We usually wait until the open, which is in an hour's time. But we got NFP now, so let's see what markets do. We're going to be watching S&P 500 mainly. So pretty much in a holding pattern. We did get a little bit of a move higher after Nvidia's earnings last night. Nvidia's earnings was positive, beat across the board, and it's up in pre-market just over 5%. But all eyes right now on non-farm payrolls, and we're going to count it down with you. There we go. So we got about 10 seconds left on the clock. Sometimes we get a big move, sometimes we don't. But let's see how things go here. We got non-farm payrolls in 5 seconds. Let's see what the algorithms have in store for us today. All right, bit of a muted reaction so far. We'll pull up the actual data itself. Not much happening, at least in the first sort of few seconds here. Sometimes we'll see a bigger jump after the announcement is released, and pretty much unchanged, which is interesting. Let's pull up the actual data here. So as a reminder, this is going to be September's data. We did not get September's data because of the government shutdown. Looks like so far slightly higher, but not by much. So unemployment rate was 4.4% versus 4.3 expected. So that was slightly worse than expected. And then we're looking here for non-farm payrolls came in higher than expected. So 119,000 versus a consensus of 53,000. So not the reaction that we usually get right away, but looks like they could be slow playing us here. Maybe a little bit of slow play going on, which is also sometimes the case here as it's being digested and fully processed. We also like to leave approximately 2 minutes for all the algorithms to do their thing. So yeah, we are noticeably higher here after that announcement. We're up 1% on the day in pre-market. We'll keep an eye on that in the coming minutes, but I do think there could be a little bit of a delayed reaction going on in the actual employment data. So we haven't really gotten much government data at all, and the BLS finally has reopened its doors, and it's allowing us to get some information from them finally. And let's see here. Okay, so if we pull this up, So these are the numbers in question. If we go down to Wednesday, Thursday. Here we go. So these are the numbers in question here. Non-farm payroll came in at 119,000, which was higher than the 53,000 expected. That means 119,000 more jobs, or more people employed for the month of September. Expectation was 53, so that's more than double. And then unemployment was slightly higher by 0.1%. I believe we're not going to get the unemployment claims data because that was not taken back in September, end of September. So overall, I would say arguably a stronger employment number here off the back of that number. And S&P not really moving much, at all. Very muted, and it'll be very interesting to see how things move today, how things progress today. I think it looks like it went higher, and then as we said before, we like to wait for that 2-minute mark, and we'll be waiting for some follow through. But at the moment, not much follow through. So we're not going to be forcing any trades here. I know we have gotten a few comments from people saying, oh, can you trade more? Can you do more trading? If there is an opportunity, like for example today, when there is a lot of news and we do get NFP, there tends to be a big move. We're not quite seeing that just yet. So until we see some sort of follow through here, we're gonna just give you our thoughts and our insights. But if there's no moves to make, then there's no moves to make. Let's have a look at the live chat here. We have Mr. Mortala saying, hi, Mr. Mandela. Good day, Mortala. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we also have Faisal. Hello to you, Faisal. Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, the 20th of November. We're calling it NFP Day. Why not? Why not call it NFP Day? Feel free to comment below. We do have a rolling live chat. So if you're watching us, we're on the City Traders Imperium YouTube channel. We're also on Signature FX YouTube channel. We're also on Signature FX's X channel or X account live stream as well. So feel free to message us over there. We're happy to address your questions. Anything you're looking at, please let us know what you're trading. We did a small poll over in the City Traders Imperium YouTube channel asking people, are you going to be trading today? So will you be trading today? Just realized there was a little typo in there. Will you be trading today? And it's 75% yes, 25% no. Probably could have put a maybe in there if you're not sure. Looks like we also have a few other people in the office. We got Andrew. Andrew's prompt and ready to go. Always nice to have you in the office, Andrew. We'll be live tomorrow as well, same time, same place. So join Andrew and I as we talk markets and give you our insights. Kian Nils is also here. NFP gonna cook. Talking about cook this morning, actually. And so far, it looks like it's a bit of an anticlimactic reaction. We are already up 1%, to be fair. We're already up about 60 points. So that could be it as well. But we'll have a look at some of the charts in a moment. NQ for Life is also here. Hello, NQ for Life. Thank you for joining us. And Andrew's saying hi to the chat. Ashra is in the office. And Isildur is also in the office today. So thank you one and all for joining us. Please make sure if you are interested in joining the competition, make sure you click on that link in the live chat. Click the submit once you've filled out the information. And then at the end of the show, we will be talking about who that winner is of that $5,000 City Traders Imperium account. Okay, so there's a few things I wanted to talk about today. I think there are people of varying experience levels, and you're all, coming together, which I think is a beautiful thing. Today's NFP, we've talked a bit about how the data was a bit on ice over the last few weeks. But I think the main reason why we focus on the employment data is it's part of a chain of reactions. I know a lot of traders look at NFP and they probably try to go all in on an NFP announcement. It usually happens on Fridays, mind you. And they've gone all in and they probably were not right. So most traders have had at least one bad experience. If you've been doing this long enough and you have been trading NFP long enough, you've probably had at least one bad non-farm payrolls day. So there's a negative connotation with it. I think aside from the actual market reaction, there's also the reason why we care about it so much is it's showing us the health of the labor force. And more people employed, more people are working. That tends to mean more people are getting salaries, getting paid, and then they're more likely to go out and spend in the real economy. So that's kind of the reason, the why we care about it. There's also another connection to the Federal Reserve. So if the Federal Reserve sees that jobs are lower or there's a decrease in jobs, then they're more likely to cut rates. They also consider things like inflation, but labor and this jobs data that we got this morning is also a very important factor in the Federal Reserve's decision to cut interest rates. So what we'll do now is we'll have a quick, I keep saying quick look because I was watching one of the previous shows and I was like, I keep saying quick look every 5 seconds. I'm talking about quick look this, quick look that. So if we look at Polymarket, Polymarket tends to change based on what's happening in the real world. So if we look at Fed decision, let's do this one. So since we got that data just now, so the fact that it will be no change has decreased slightly. Looks like there is less of a chance of no change, and a 25 basis points decrease has increased. So for some of you, this might be like rocket science, or this may be like a completely different language. What we're looking for is, based on the non-farm payrolls data that we just gotten 10 minutes ago, is the Federal Reserve more or less likely to cut interest rates at their December meeting? That's how I think about it. And from looking at Polymarket, which is just one source, right? It's just one source. We can also look at the Fed Watch tool as well. But we're seeing a slight decrease. If we zoom in, there we go. So the chances of no change, or the Federal Reserve holding rates at their December meeting unchanged, is about 66%. And the chances of a 25 basis point cut in their December meeting is about 32%. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like we're not really getting much follow through. We zoom in here. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see this reaction here because we had the Nvidia earnings yesterday, which just knocked it out of the park, beat on everything. I think the only question was what's happening with China, but that was completely ignored by the market, and everybody seemed to be very, 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 very impressed with the Nvidia numbers and this what we're calling this current trend here as we head towards the Santa Claus rally. I'm just gonna scroll through. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this segment called Chatting Charts, and then we'll do a quick break. And then we'll come back. Actually, you know what? Looks like we got a couple comments here in the live chat. Okay, so it looks like Mortala saying, Mr. Mandela, what is London market opening in this season? What is London market? Not exactly sure there. I'm guessing what time does the market open in London? I believe is the question there. I personally, I don't trade the London markets. I believe it's 8:30. London markets open, so that would be 8:30 GMT. But I'm not completely sure what the question is. It looks like in this season. So I'm guessing it says, what time do London markets open in this session? And I would say 8:30. And then what time? Oh, there we go. And then, sir, I need a SFX cap. Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned the cap, General Watala, because I'm staying out of it. I know that was something that was mentioned on a previous show with our one of our other talented, very, very talented co-hosts. But I'm staying out of it. This is because it is actually, I think it's like 4 degrees, 3 degrees outside in the shade. So we're hitting like high 30s if you're talking Fahrenheit. We're about 3-ish on the Celsius dial, and I am freezing. It's nice to be indoors. And I don't know about you, but if you're anywhere that it's this cold, just stay warm. You know, keep warm. I'm trying to get layered up, and keep positive thoughts. You know, stay in the sun if I can. But yeah, that's the reason for this hat. And it's not a do-rag. Got a message here saying, "Are you wearing a do-rag?" I am not wearing a do-rag. This is a winter hat. Keep me nice and warm. All right. All right, let's see who else we got in the live chat. Looks like Kian Nils talking a bit about the NFP, and then looks like a question here about oil coming from Ashra. So we can have a look at oil a little bit later. But what we're gonna do before we got that live chat, before we touched on the live chat, we're gonna have a look at what's happening in other markets here. So let's start at the top. Bitcoin, which is what we like to use as our gauge, our risk gauge. So if we're having sort of like a risk-on situation, we will be seeing strength in Bitcoin. That's a liquidity. It's almost like our favorite indicator for liquidity. And right now, after we got that NFP, it's not really showing us much. Not really giving us that oomph that we like to see after some data comes out. What else did we get? Let's just confirm here. So the data that we were looking for, 119,000 for September. If we click on this, so delayed by 48 days due to the U.S. government shutdown, and this is the BLS that's giving us this. The next announcement will be December 16th, and as far as I know, we're not getting the October data because that was never taken. 119,000 is a change in the number of employed people in September, and it excludes the farming industry. So more people were employed in September than expected, more than double. So that, for me, that would kind of make me think, okay, there's more people being employed. That's a good thing. There's more people collecting a wage, more people getting a salary, and therefore more people will be going out and buying Christmas presents. More people will be traveling with their families. Oversimplified, I admit, but that would be good. So now when we turn to what would the Federal Reserve do, and that they don't take this in a silo, but it almost makes it okay now for the Federal Reserve to hold rates, because it looks like the labor force is okay. Labor force is stabilizing. So the market likes when the Federal Reserve is cutting. And so if they're not cutting, that could potentially be a little bit worrying. So we'll have to see. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's put in the revisions as well. Okay, so that's the one that we just got. A lot higher. This was the expectation. This is what it actually was. So this was the 53,000. This is 119,000. So more than expected. Completely contrasted from the previous months. It's very weird. So previous month, the last time we did get this data, expectation was for 28,000, around 28,000. Expectation was for 69,000 and came in at around 20 or so. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. I think from the movements that we've seen, there's still a little bit of confusion as to what direction the market wants to take as a result. But Bitcoin's not really doing much. If we zoom out, it has been beaten up terribly. We talked a bit about the liquidity here and the downtrend. We're looking at this downtrend in our previous shows. We broke through 100,000 convincingly, and I guess the question is, do we revisit 100,000? I think that's going to be the question for the next few days. Tomorrow is OPEX, so we could get a little bit of volatility tomorrow, but I'd be interested to see if we get a bounce. S&P looks like it's starting to move higher here after pausing for the better part of the last 18 minutes or so. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia earnings was a complete home run in all respects. It's up about 5% in pre-market. So closed down here around 186, and then it was up from there, hit as high as 198 after, I believe that was during or just after the conference call finished. And it's just kind of stayed around 195 and 198, 195, 197. So this is one to watch for today. It makes up 18% of the S&P 500. Correction. It makes up 8%. 18 would be ginormous. 8% of the S&P is made up by the Nvidia stock alone. So I think it's one of those movers that it's almost like it actually moved markets more than NFP. If we compare what happened overnight with non-farm payroll to what's happened with Nvidia stock overnight, let's make that comparison. I think it'd be funny to look at it that way. Okay, so actually NFP is starting to kick off. So the first bit here would have been from the close. So we're gonna highlight here, this was all of Nvidia. So that was Nvidia's announcement. And now we're getting the NFP announcement move from here. So granted, we've only had a few moments of the NFP reaction, but it's just I think a good comparison to make. You know, we moved. This was solely. I can't think of another catalyst, another reason for us moving 1.56%, which is over 100 S&P points, other than the Nvidia earnings. So if we're going to get NFP to move similarly to that, and this is just comparing the impact of non-farm payrolls with Nvidia earnings. So if we get the same move, which is 100, let's say the percentage-wise, 157, there we go. So that would put us up here at 68.24. If we get the same reaction to non-farm payrolls as we did last night to positive Nvidia. Interesting case study if you want to keep an eye on it. So we got Nasdaq moving higher. So now we're kind of seeing this slow play where we're creeping higher. I don't know if we can trust this. Looks like there is some volume behind it. We're going to be waiting until the open, and then just like each and every other day, we wait for the market to kind of present some opportunities for us, and then we will trade those opportunities. Not going to go into too many individual stocks, but we can look at the dollar. Dollar's lower here after that non-farm payrolls. So there was a poll that was sent out on City Traders Imperium talking about, do we think the dollar is going to go higher or lower? And I'm going to have a look at that. That was on X. It was a CTI poll on the US dollar. So if you are participating in that, I hope that you selected the right choice. But it does look like after that announcement, dollar is slightly weaker going into the US cash open. We're not going to look at all of these, but what we can do is have a look at gold. Gold's come up quite a bit. Gold hasn't really moved since the announcement. We got the announcement more or less here. Gold's kind of unchanged, slightly up. And I think we're going to have to wait for today to unfold. I do think that it could be a process of maybe today is a little bit choppy. Every time I say that, we trend. But I'm just thinking there's been a lot of data, and I think sometimes market participants take a little bit longer to digest all of the data. And also keeping in mind that tomorrow is options expiration day. So that's also something on the radar. Oil was one that we spoke about before. We can touch on this. We'll touch on this tomorrow. Andrew, if you're still on, let's have a look at oil tomorrow when we do our Friday show. NASDAQ, talked about that. Looks like it wants to go higher. We're going to actually break down some levels in a second. Some prices that we think we could use as targets today. So at the moment, it's off the lows. Actually, we're towards the highs of the pre-market. If we look at it this way, we see that big pop in Nvidia after the earnings. And then if we go here, so this is, I would call it NASDAQ pre-market. This is the best way we can look at it. It looks like it's trying to move higher. We are up 1%, and we did get the bulk of that last night, sort of right as Nvidia was announcing their earnings. So we got to give credit where credit's due. And then looking at S&P here, similar, almost copy and paste, really and truly, up about 1.13% in pre-market on the S&P. So we're very cautious here. We do see, looks like we're more bullish than not after the non-farm payrolls, but I do think that today could be a fairly choppy day. We have to see. Faisal, thank you for your question. How high do you think Nvidia can reach today? That's a good question. This is I like these types of questions. So I don't have a crystal ball, and unfortunately I'm not able to predict the future. I'm actually quite bad at it. Every time I do try to predict the future, it tends to do the opposite. But I'm just gonna put my finger in the wind and see. So looking at Nvidia from beginning of October to now, and looks like we're gonna open up somewhere around here. If all things considered, if we don't move anywhere in the next 35 minutes, Nvidia is gonna start the day up here about 195.90. I do think we could get to 200. I think 200 is a nice round number, and it would mean some nice sort of momentum follow through. That's, I think, probably the first stop if we do see some follow through today. Things to mention here, this was a high from the 10th of October, so that's just above 200. And then obviously I think everybody's talking about the all-time highs. Do we get there today? I really wish I could tell you, but all-time highs at 212. So depending on when you watch this, Nvidia could be above 213, 214. I think it's really going to depend on how do we open, how do we perform, or how does Nvidia move in the first hour to hour and a half of trading today. Can we hold this gap? Can we continue to push and push and push and maybe follow through from the gap? I think that is question number one for me. And I think as difficult as it sounds, how Nvidia reacts, I think the wider market is going to probably follow and take its lead. So if we see, let's say scenario A is we do gap up just under 200, and then within the first half an hour of trading, we're getting up to 200 or slightly above 200. If we're kind of following through from that earnings and we're making our way above 200, I do think that the wider market is going to follow that, and we're going to probably see a nice sort of momentum trend higher. Just remember, we are already up 5% in Nvidia. So yeah, that's kind of my two lines in the sand, I would say. First one is 200, and then all-time highs. Obviously, it's pretty basic stuff, but usually you'll get a lot of orders congregating around the all-time high, which comes in at 212.16. That's my Nvidia level. So thank you very much, Faisal. Thank you for your question. Hopefully that's helpful to you, and you can use that for your trading today. And actually brings up a very interesting point. Nothing that is said today should be construed as investment advice. Please conduct your own analysis and seek your own financial advisor before making any decisions based on topics that we mention in our shows. Yeah, happy to kind of give you that insight and that information. No problem at all. So we're gonna do the prize giveaway now. So if you haven't entered, it's too late. It's too late. So we have, let's see. Oh, okay. We got a good amount of entries here. So we're gonna be giving away a $5,000 account to one lucky person. If you haven't entered, it's too late anyway. So we're going to be doing the live draw for the $5,000 account right now. Okay. So we're going to get everybody's responses here. I'm just going to pull everybody's name so that we have it. People putting not real names, which is not good. Full name. Okay. Now, what I find interesting is people are putting not applicable for their YouTube names. And so that makes it a bit confusing to me. Okay, here we go. So this is everybody's name. All right, here we go. So best of luck to everybody. Thank you for all the entries. And here we go. May the best person win. All right, Michelle Mitch, congratulations. Well done. Very well done. So, very important instructions for you, Michelle Mitch. Very, very important instructions for you right now. What you need to do is go into social media, say thanks City Traders Imperium for the prize of a $5,000 account, and make sure you tag City Traders Imperium's official site, official account, and they will contact you and get you your account. They'll provide you with that information as soon as you post it on social media. All right, that's it. I think that's it for today, everybody. We are going to get ready for the trading day. Should be an interesting day. I do think it's an interesting day. It's usually near OPEX, we find it very, very choppy. But we got this. This is post Nvidia. We got post. Just got that labor data from September. September's kind of so I'm thinking, is that data super stale, where it's not really going to impact the Federal Reserve much at all? That's kind of come into mind as well. And then we did talk a bit about levels. So let me do some levels for you, because I did say that I was going to do some levels. So let's do S&P. Old Faithful, we call it. Okay, so this is going back to, oh boy. Okay, This is going back to the all-time high that we hit on Wednesday, the 29th of October. And actually, you know what? We're going to do, let's leave it here. This is fine. This is fine. So what are we looking at for today? What are the kind of lines in the sand that we got? So if all things considered, if we remain where we are now, we're probably going to open up near 67.50. 67.50 is around here. So that overnight high needs to be popped a little bit higher. And we got that previous all-time high from the 9th of October. We can bring that into view. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's look at this. So 67.50 is more or less where we're going to open today. I think the key level here is from the October 9th all-time high. That's going to be key. So for S&P, so the SPX, which is the S&P cash index, that's coming in at 67.64. So that, I think, is going to be very pivotal for today. If we're above that and we can hold above that, I think maybe we see some follow through today. The next stop was kind of like almost like a bit of a price gap here for us. We're looking at the October close. So everybody on X has been talking about how November is usually an up month, and this is the worst November since there was no internet. So if we get back up here, then we're flat for the month, and that takes away all those negative thoughts about November being terrible. And that's what I like about this market. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. So despite the fact that we were down here yesterday and we closed down here yesterday, if we can get through this previous high, this was a key previous all-time high from Thursday, 9th of October. And if we can follow through higher, maybe this is not until tomorrow or Monday, but we could still finish the month, above October's close. And that's the key of this one. This is how far have we moved this month? The next one is last week's high. So last week we actually ticked above the October close. So that's another one that I like to look at. Last week's high tends to get a lot of orders. Could be some shorts that are holding out there, or some puts, put stop losses, things like that can end up being triggered if we get up there. All-time highest close. So this is the highest price that the S&P has ever closed at, and that's at 68.90. And then of course it's the ATH. Actually used to work for a company whose ticker symbol was ATH. And I think we all know what ATH is. If you've been in this industry for long enough, ATH is all-time highs. Always has been, always will be. But yeah, my previous company, the previous company that I worked for, had a ticker symbol ATH, which is so cool. They've since been taken private, but I'll never forget the ATH ticker. Was some nice thing to mention at dinner parties. So that's the upside. Now, we always mention the downside as well, right? You don't want to be caught with your pants down. So if we do see, actually, you know what we'll do? We'll do this for the downside here. So we're going to open up around here. Maybe we do look above here. So this is the downside scenario, because we already covered the upside scenario. So we look above here. Let's redo this one more time. So the upside scenario, we covered the previous all-time high from October. We covered the October close, last week's high, all-time highest close, all-time high. Now let's say we move higher and there's some exuberance. Anybody who traded yesterday, there was definitely some exuberance out of the open. And let's say we break above this 67, 64 for a little bit. We kind of get up here and then we start to teeter off like we did yesterday. Yesterday we teetered off at the September close. So interesting to see. Maybe we get up to the October close. That's still a bit of a ways to go. Actually, for fun, I'm just thinking. Let's say we open up here, we pause here for a little bit, and then let's say we hit the October close, just like we did yesterday. Yesterday we hit the September close. Let's say today we hit the October close. And then from there, this is what nobody is expecting. You see what I'm doing here? Okay, so this is also a scenario that we always consider. It's not about, and we talk about this a lot, it's not about only predicting the future and that's the only thing that can happen. And then if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to be pissed off and I'm going to lose a lot of money. That's not how we think. The market is always going higher, lower, or nowhere. So we covered the market going higher as our first scenario. The other scenario is the market goes lower today, and that is absolutely possible. We've had this downtrend sort of back from end of October. We moved down here. We got a nice little bounce, and then we moved lower, made new lows here again. I don't see why we couldn't actually. I don't usually do trend lines, but we can do something like that. So that's the all-time high. That would be the Wednesday, 12th of November highs. This scenario, mark my words, is not being considered by enough market participants. So this is kind of today's story into tomorrow's story, but I could see us getting back to this sort of, let's do a little, I could see us getting back into this area, which is kind of between 6,800 and 6,850. Kind of just touching the October close potentially today, and then seeing it just fade. So similar to what we saw sort of mid-November, and also similar to what we saw end of October. So another one of these bad boys. So just remember, we always want to be prepared for as many scenarios as possible. And this scenario, I think, is one, even though it's probably less likely to happen today into tomorrow, it's definitely one that we will be considering. Everybody, that's it. I've gone way over time today. Hopefully you all are enjoying your Thursday and you continue to do so. You're welcome, Faisal, for that response that we provided earlier for you. Also, gonna say thank you to Mr. Mortala, who's in the live chat, and then we also have Kian Nils, Andrew, who will be with us tomorrow. Can't wait to speak to you all tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow with Andrew. Can't wait. And then we got David Stoic also in the live chat. Kian Nils, NQ for life. We did touch on NQ earlier. And then Michelle Mitch. Remember, Michelle Mitch, make sure that you're posting on social media, and then you'll get contacted directly from City Traders Imperium. That's our show for today. Thank you very much, everybody. From all of us here at City Traders Imperium. Also simulcast on Signature FX. I want to say, whatever you're doing today, make sure you don't blow up your account. Remember to trust the process, and I think you'll be glad that you did. All right, that's it. I think tomorrow we'll be on with Andrew. So I'll speak to you all tomorrow. In the meantime, happy trading.